$729,338.47. That exact number is seared into my memory like a brand across my soul. Not 729,000 or almost three-quarters of a million, but $729,338.47, down to the last fractional USDT. That's how much vanished from my Tether Vault Pro account when the exchange platform suddenly implemented enhanced KYC verification procedures that froze all withdrawals indefinitely. The familiar ping of my phone notification announcing my financial devastation at 3:47 a.m. on a Wednesday morning when I attempted to move funds for my daughter's Stanford tuition payment. The metallic taste of panic filled my mouth as I stared at the generic error message flashing across my laptop screen. Account under compliance review. Estimated resolution 14 to 21 business days. While the smell of cold coffee mixed with the ozone scent of overheated electronics in my home office. Marcus Chen, the exchange's chief technology officer, with his verified LinkedIn profile and 47,000 Twitter followers, thought he was freezing funds belonging to some tech consultant who'd gotten lucky with early cryptocurrency investments, someone who would file complaints with the FBI and wait patiently for international law enforcement cooperation. He had no idea he'd just frozen the assets of Robert Hayes, a compliance officer who'd spent 16 years developing cryptocurrency exchange monitoring protocols for FinCEN under 31 U.S.C. 5318. Someone who'd coordinated global seizures totaling over $12.3 billion in illicit digital assets using Chainalysis Reactor, TRM Labs, and Elliptic investigations. He sat there in his Singapore penthouse, designer watch glinting under LED lighting, absolutely convinced he'd found another victim for his sophisticated exchange fraud, while my family's future sat locked in his criminal enterprise. What Marcus didn't know was that every cryptocurrency exchange leaves digital fingerprints across international banking networks under the Bank Secrecy Act, and I know how to trigger coordinated seizures under 18 U.S.C. 1956 that freeze criminal assets in real time across multiple jurisdictions. I'm Robert Hayes, and watching Tether Vault Pro's customer service team send automated responses about regulatory compliance enhancements, while the bitter taste of betrayal coated my tongue like copper pennies, I felt something I rarely experience in my professional investigations: the cold, surgical rage that precedes a complete financial takedown. The morning sunlight streaming through my home office windows felt warm against my face, but ice water was flowing through my veins as I realized the scope of their systematic fraud operation. In 8 weeks, Marcus would be standing in handcuffs at Changi Airport watching his cryptocurrency empire crumble in real time, while prosecutors from 6 countries read charges under international wire fraud treaties and FATF rule violations. And I would be the compliance officer whose regulatory coordination destroyed his defense and triggered seizures that recovered over $340 million in stolen cryptocurrency from victims worldwide. What would you do if a seemingly legitimate exchange froze your life savings while claiming regulatory compliance issues? Drop your country flag in the comments because I want to understand how exchange fraud operates in different regulatory environments and whether you've encountered similar sophisticated platform scams in your region. The relationship began 8 months earlier when Tether Vault Pro appeared in my cryptocurrency compliance feeds with impressive institutional backing and regulatory announcements that screamed legitimacy to experienced professionals. Their platform launched with proper MAS licensing in Singapore, AUSTRAC registration in Australia, and pending applications with multiple European financial authorities that suggested serious regulatory compliance efforts. Marcus Chen's background appeared impeccable through my standard due diligence: former Goldman Sachs quantitative analyst, blockchain technology patents, and speaking engagements at legitimate cryptocurrency conferences, where his technical presentations demonstrated genuine understanding of FINRA Rule 3310 and institutional trading infrastructure. As a compliance officer who'd implemented AML monitoring systems for regulated exchanges, I recognized their sophisticated approach to KYC, transaction monitoring, and suspicious activity reporting that exceeded industry standards. TetherVault Pro's value proposition was compelling for compliance-conscious investors like myself. Institutional-grade security, segregated customer funds under proper custody protocols, comprehensive insurance coverage, and regulatory oversight that traditional exchanges couldn't match. Their marketing emphasized banking-grade compliance and institutional custody standards that appealed to professionals who understood regulatory risks in cryptocurrency trading. The platform offered competitive rates for USDT trading pairs, advanced order types, and professional-grade API access that attracted serious traders seeking alternatives to mainstream exchanges with their increasing regulatory restrictions. My initial deposits were modest and carefully monitored, starting with 5,000 USDT to test their withdrawal processes and customer service responsiveness using the same methodologies I employed for exchange compliance audits. The platform performed flawlessly for 6 months, with instant deposits, reliable trading execution, and prompt customer service responses that built confidence in their operational capabilities. Their quarterly transparency reports showed proper fund segregation, third-party security audits by reputable firms, and regulatory compliance metrics that exceeded industry standards. I could smell success in the air, that clean scent of legitimate operations backed by serious regulatory oversight and professional management. Everything about TetherVault Pro suggested institutional-grade operations that had learned from the compliance failures that destroyed earlier exchanges. Emily's acceptance into Stanford's pre-med program created urgent financial pressure that made TetherVault Pro's 12% APY staking rewards increasingly attractive. The tuition costs were astronomical, and my traditional investment portfolio needed supplementation without excessive risk exposure. The decision to commit my entire cryptocurrency holdings felt justified by months of due diligence and consistent performance. I liquidated underperforming assets and converted everything to USDT, the wire transfers from my bank proceeding smoothly through their designated payment processors. Total exposure, $729,338.47, representing years of disciplined saving and our family's financial security, now entrusted to a platform that promised institutional protection. For weeks, the TetherVault Pro dashboard displayed perfect, steady growth. My USDT staking rewards accumulated daily, account balances swelling with predictable efficiency that reinforced confidence in their sophisticated operations. I could track assets, review transaction histories, and simulate withdrawals, all reinforcing the illusion of robust and trustworthy infrastructure. The psychological validation was intoxicating, transforming my professional caution into confident anticipation of securing Emily's education and our retirement. The collapse arrived without warning when I attempted to withdraw $50,000 for Emily's tuition deposit. Instead of usual immediate confirmation, I received a generic withdrawal pending message that triggered every compliance instinct I developed over 16 years of investigating financial fraud. Within hours, my account was completely frozen with claims of suspicious activity that made no sense given my documented transaction history. That evening in my home office, surrounded by the familiar hum of multiple monitors and the metallic taste of betrayal, I began what I do best, investigating cryptocurrency exchanges using FinCEN's regulatory database and international coordination protocols. What I discovered made my stomach drop like a stone through water. TetherVault Pro was an elaborate fiction, and Marcus Chen had just stolen from the wrong compliance officer. The regulatory investigation revealed TetherVault Pro's true criminal sophistication, a cryptocurrency exchange fraud operation that exploited institutional legitimacy markers to hide systematic theft. My home office transformed into a financial intelligence command center, the familiar smell of hot electronics mixing with cold coffee as I worked 18-hour days mapping their entire fraudulent infrastructure. Using FinCEN's regulatory database, Swift network monitoring tools, and proprietary compliance software I'd helped develop for exchange oversight, I traced not just my stolen $729,338, but systematic fraud spanning 14 months across multiple jurisdictions. The pattern was methodical, patient, and devastating. Marcus had created a parallel exchange universe where customer deposits funded his luxury lifestyle while sophisticated software generated completely fabricated trading reports and account balances. My first step was cross-referencing TetherVault Pro's supposed regulatory credentials against official government databases. The results were chilling. While a shell company with a similar name existed in Singapore, its MAS license had been revoked 6 months prior for compliance violations, and the Austrac registration belonged to a small remittance service unrelated to cryptocurrency trading. Marcus Chan's LinkedIn profile, once seemingly credible, crumbled under scrutiny. Goldman Sachs alumni networks yielded no record of his claimed employment. His blockchain patents were generic white papers published under pseudonyms. The conference photos were expertly photoshopped stock images, and his 47,000 Twitter followers were purchased bots with identical engagement patterns. The social proof that had seemed so robust was nothing but sophisticated digital theater. The technical breakthrough came through my FinCEN access to suspicious activity reports filed by correspondent banks. TetherVault Pro's supposed segregated customer funds were flowing directly into personal accounts controlled by Marcus Chen through a network of Singapore shell companies and Cayman Islands trusts. Each customer deposit was immediately converted to Bitcoin, split across 27 different wallet addresses using automated smart contracts, then laundered through Tornado cash mixers before flowing to traditional banking systems in jurisdictions with minimal cryptocurrency oversight. Using Chainalysis Reactor and my proprietary clustering algorithms, I traced the money laundering operation across 8 countries and 14 financial institutions. Cross-referencing withdrawal patterns with cached social media posts revealed damning correlation between luxury lifestyle purchases and specific customer deposit events. My $729,338 had funded his Monaco yacht charter. The Instagram story of him celebrating another successful quarter posted 3 days after my funds cleared his UBS account ending in 7834. The sophistication was breathtaking. Customer USDT deposits were systematically withdrawn to shell companies with names like Digital Asset Solutions (PTLTD) and Blockchain Infrastructure Holdings, each layer designed to obscure the ultimate beneficiaries through complex corporate structures spanning multiple jurisdictions. But the hardest part was telling Sarah everything. I found her in our kitchen preparing Emily's favorite dinner, the familiar sounds of family life creating a domestic soundtrack that felt surreal given what I was about to destroy. The smell of garlic and herbs filled the air, making my stomach turn as I approached with my laptop displaying evidence of our financial ruin. When I showed her the regulatory analysis proving TetherVault Pro was completely fraudulent, color drained from her face like water flowing from a broken dam. Her hands trembled as she gripped the counter, voice barely a whisper. All of it? Everything for Stanford? The sound of her quiet sob cut deeper than any physical pain I'd ever experienced. The next morning brought Emily's innocent question about her pre-med program deposit, her bright voice untainted by the financial storm brewing around us. "Dad, is the TetherVault account still covering tuition like we planned?" That moment crystallized everything. I looked at Sarah, my voice steady despite the tremor in my hands. Yes, everything will be fine. Marcus picked the wrong person to steal from. The promise tasted like steel in my mouth, transforming devastation into diamond-hard determination. I activated protocols I developed for international exchange seizures, starting with FinCEN Form 8300 filings that triggered automatic correspondent banking reviews under 31 U.S.C. 5331. My network of compliance officers at major exchanges, payment processors, and financial institutions worldwide responded immediately to my encrypted communications. Colleagues at Chainalysis, TRM Labs, and Elliptic provided preliminary blockchain clustering analysis within hours, revealing the true scale of Marcus's operation.
Total confirmed theft exceeded $47 million across 312 confirmed victims in 18 countries, representing systematic destruction of retirement funds, college savings, and family financial security. Dr. Patricia Martinez from Toronto had lost $890,000 from her medical practice's cryptocurrency holdings. James Patterson, a software engineer from Sydney, lost $445,000 after transferring his entire portfolio to TetherVault Pro's institutional custody platform. Together, we built a victim coalition coordinating evidence across multiple jurisdictions, each new victim adding federal counts that transformed individual theft into a RICO racketeering case demanding international prosecutorial attention. The breakthrough came through careful investigation of Marcus's operational security vulnerabilities. Using my FinCEN database access, I discovered TetherVault Pro's customer service team was outsourced to a Manila call center, where employees had been signing off on withdrawal denials using the same IP addresses that accessed Marcus's personal trading accounts. Internal communications revealed Marcus literally writing "delay withdrawals indefinitely. Customers won't pursue international litigation," including screenshots of customer support tickets obviously manipulated to justify account freezes. Special Agent David Kim from FinCEN's International Coordination Division listened without interruption as I presented my regulatory analysis in a secure conference room that smelled like government coffee and classified documents. The evidence binder contained banking transaction flows, victim testimonies across 18 countries, internal TetherVault Pro communications, and regulatory violation documentation spanning multiple jurisdictions. Agent Kim examined my corresponding banking analysis showing how Marcus's network had processed over $47 million in stolen customer deposits, then activated secure communications with Singapore's Commercial Affairs Department. Within 72 hours, I'd triggered preservation orders across 14 correspondent banks, frozen 37 cryptocurrency exchange accounts, and coordinated with regulatory authorities in Singapore, Australia, Switzerland, and the Cayman Islands. Marcus's sophisticated money laundering operation was crumbling in real time as international banking relationships were severed through coordinated regulatory action. The hunt had officially begun, and Marcus Chen was about to learn that stealing from a FinCEN compliance officer carries consequences measured in decades of international prosecution.
The international regulatory coordination revealed Marcus's complete criminal infrastructure, a sophisticated cryptocurrency exchange fraud operation that exploited cross-jurisdictional regulatory gaps to hide systematic theft. My home office transformed into a global financial intelligence command center, the familiar smell of hot electronics mixing with cold coffee as I worked around the clock coordinating with regulatory authorities across 8 countries. Using FinCEN's Suspicious Activity Report database, Swift network monitoring protocols, and international cooperation frameworks under the Egmont Group, I traced not just my stolen $729,338, but systematic fraud spanning 18 months across multiple regulatory jurisdictions. The pattern was methodical, patient, and devastating. Marcus had been operating a criminal enterprise targeting sophisticated cryptocurrency investors with substantial holdings seeking institutional-grade custody solutions. The technical breakthrough came through my access to correspondent banking networks under 31 U.S.C. 5318. TetherVault Pro's supposed segregated customer funds were flowing directly through Deutsche Bank Singapore, UBS Zurich, and HSBC Hong Kong into personal accounts controlled by Marcus Chen through a sophisticated network of shell companies. Each customer deposit triggered immediate wire transfers to entities like Digital Asset Solutions (PTLT) and Blockchain Infrastructure Holdings, with beneficial ownership obscured through Cayman Islands trusts and British Virgin Islands corporations. Using advanced clustering analysis through Chainalysis Reactor, I mapped the complete money laundering operation. Customer USDT converted to Bitcoin, split across 43 wallet addresses, mixed through Tornado Cash, then liquidated to traditional banking systems in minimal oversight jurisdictions. Cross-referencing withdrawal patterns with cached social media posts revealed damning correlation between Marcus's luxury lifestyle and specific customer deposit events. My $729,338 had funded his Singapore penthouse lease and Monaco yacht charter. The LinkedIn posts about expanding global operations published within days of major customer deposits clearing his accounts. The sophistication was breathtaking. Customer deposits were systematically converted through legitimate exchanges like Binance and Kraken, then immediately withdrawn to shell companies with professional-sounding names designed to pass cursory due diligence reviews by correspondent banks. Using my FinCEN network and international compliance contacts, I began identifying other victims whose cryptocurrency holdings had vanished into Marcus's sophisticated fraud operation. Within 72 hours of coordinated outreach through encrypted communications and regulatory channels, I'd connected with 47 confirmed victims across 12 countries who'd lost amounts ranging from $125,000 to $2.1 million. Dr. Patricia Martinez from Toronto had invested $890,000 in TetherVault Pro's institutional custody platform, only to discover the underlying infrastructure was completely fabricated. James Patterson, a software engineer from Sydney, lost $445,000 after Marcus convinced him that traditional exchanges couldn't provide adequate regulatory compliance for high-net-worth cryptocurrency investors. Together, we built what international prosecutors call a victim coalition, creating a comprehensive database documenting Marcus's crimes totaling over $47.2 million across 312 confirmed victims in 18 countries. Each new victim added jurisdictional counts, transforming individual theft into an international RICO racketeering case that would demand prosecutorial attention at the highest levels. The pattern was consistent. Marcus specifically targeted sophisticated cryptocurrency investors with substantial holdings, exploiting their regulatory knowledge to bypass normal skepticism about new exchange platforms. Special Agent David Kim from FinCEN's International Coordination Division activated secure communications with Singapore's Commercial Affairs Department, Australia's AUSTRAC, Switzerland's FINMA, and the Cayman Islands Monetary Authority. Within 48 hours, I'd triggered coordinated preservation orders across 23 correspondent banks, frozen 61 cryptocurrency exchange accounts, and initiated regulatory enforcement actions in 6 jurisdictions simultaneously. The international banking relationships that enabled Marcus's operation were being severed through coordinated regulatory pressure under the FATF travel rule and bilateral ML8s. The pressure mounted as Marcus made increasingly desperate moves. He launched a new cryptocurrency exchange called Global TradeX, attempting to capitalize on market chaos while his original platform crumbled. The audacity was breathtaking, marketing ironclad security and unmatched liquidity while federal agencies coordinated his takedown. I immediately flagged Global TradeX to major ISPs and domain registrars through FinCEN's network, requesting immediate takedown orders under anti-fraud provisions. Within 48 hours, the new platform was offline, its payment processors notified, and its social media accounts suspended. The operational breakthrough came from an unexpected source: the Manila call center that handled TetherVault Pro's customer service. A supervisor named Carlo, furious about withheld wages, agreed to cooperate after discovering his team was being used to facilitate fraud. Over encrypted communications, he provided internal Zendesk logs showing withdrawal denials systematically approved by 3 agent accounts that also accessed Marcus's personal trading accounts at major exchanges. Device telemetry revealed identical browser fingerprints and IP addresses linking customer service operations directly to Marcus's money laundering activities. Carlo's intelligence proved devastating. Internal communications showed Marcus literally instructing staff to delay all withdrawals indefinitely. International litigation is too expensive for most customers, including detailed spreadsheets tracking customer complaint escalation patterns and optimal delay strategies. The human element completed our technical blockchain evidence, providing direct proof of intent and command structure that would satisfy international prosecutors. I coordinated the final trap with surgical precision. Using my FinCEN authority, I sent Marcus a formal regulatory inquiry under 31 U.S.C. 5318.
requesting comprehensive transaction records, beneficial ownership documentation, and compliance reports for TetherVault Pro's operations. The inquiry carried the full weight of U.S. Financial Intelligence Authority with international cooperation implications. Marcus responded within 6 hours through Singapore attorneys, claiming full cooperation while obviously panicking about regulatory scrutiny. Meanwhile, intelligence from Singapore's Commercial Affairs Department confirmed Marcus was attempting to liquidate remaining stolen cryptocurrency through an unregulated OTC desk in Hong Kong. This critical misstep provided real-time evidence of ongoing money laundering. My team at FinCEN, coordinating with Chainalysis and Hong Kong's Joint Financial Intelligence Unit, began monitoring the target OTC provider as Marcus's tagged wallets transferred large sums of Bitcoin and Ethereum to known hot wallets. International warrants were coordinated across 6 jurisdictions simultaneously. Agent Kim called with news that made my pulse quicken. Singapore Commercial Affairs Department executes Tuesday morning, with coordinated seizures in Switzerland, Australia, and Cayman Islands. Flight manifests show he's booked private transport to Eastern Europe tomorrow night. I stared at my evidence wall, red pins marking every wallet, every victim, every lie Marcus had constructed across 18 months of international fraud. "He won't make that flight," I said, tasting victory like ozone before a thunderstorm. The regulatory net is faster than his escape plans. Marcus Chen was about to learn that stealing from a FinCEN compliance officer triggers consequences measured in decades of international prosecution across multiple jurisdictions. The pattern was consistent. Marcus specifically targeted sophisticated cryptocurrency investors with substantial holdings, exploiting their regulatory knowledge to bypass normal skepticism about new exchange platforms. Special Agent David Kim from FinCEN's International Coordination Division activated secure communications with Singapore's Commercial Affairs Department, Australia's AUSTRAC, Switzerland's FINMA, and the Cayman Islands Monetary Authority. Within 48 hours, I'd triggered coordinated preservation orders across 23 correspondent banks, frozen 61 cryptocurrency exchange accounts, and initiated regulatory enforcement actions in 6 jurisdictions simultaneously. The international banking relationships that enabled Marcus's operation were being severed through coordinated regulatory pressure under the FATF travel rule and bilateral ML8s. The pressure mounted as Marcus made increasingly desperate moves. He launched a new cryptocurrency exchange called Global TradeX, attempting to capitalize on market chaos while his original platform crumbled. The audacity was breathtaking, marketing ironclad security and unmatched liquidity while federal agencies coordinated his takedown. I immediately flagged Global TradeX to major ISPs and domain registrars through FinCEN's network, requesting immediate takedown orders under anti-fraud provisions. Within 48 hours, the new platform was offline, its payment processors notified, and its social media accounts suspended. The operational breakthrough came from an unexpected source: the Manila call center that handled TetherVault Pro's customer service. A supervisor named Carlo, furious about withheld wages, agreed to cooperate after discovering his team was being used to facilitate fraud. Over-encrypted.
The trap closed on Marcus Chen at 4:23 a.m. Singapore time on Tuesday morning, exactly 106 days after he'd frozen my $729,338 in his fraudulent exchange platform. I was monitoring international coordination alerts in my home office, the familiar aroma of strong coffee mixing with anticipation, when my secure phone buzzed with a text that made me smile for the first time in months. Singapore package secured, global seizures executing. Special Agent David Kim had just confirmed Marcus was in custody at Changi Airport, arrested by Singapore's Commercial Affairs Department as he attempted to board a private jet to Moldova with cryptocurrency hardware wallets containing over $12 million in stolen customer funds. The metallic sound of handcuffs clicking shut echoed through the VIP terminal while coordinated seizures executed simultaneously across 6 countries, federal agents photographing luxury watches, cryptocurrency hardware, and TetherVault Pro operational documents scattered across his penthouse like evidence of systematic international fraud. According to Agent Kim, Marcus had been so confident in his jurisdictional arbitrage strategy that he'd been reviewing fake exchange compliance reports when Commercial Affairs Department officers breached his Singapore penthouse, his escape bag packed with hardware wallets as his carefully constructed regulatory facade shattered across multiple time zones. Within 72 hours, coordinated seizures had frozen $47.8 million across 89 bank accounts and 37 cryptocurrency wallets. Using FinCEN's international coordination protocols under 31 U.S.C. 5318 and FATF travel rule enforcement, we'd triggered simultaneous preservation orders across correspondent banks in Singapore, Switzerland, the Cayman Islands, and Hong Kong. Chainalysis, TRM Labs, and Elliptic analysts mapped the remaining flows to OTC brokers who were immediately served under ML8s and shut down by local financial intelligence units. The numbers updated on our shared dashboard like a heartbeat. Customer funds frozen, shell companies dissolved, money laundering arteries collapsed. The international indictments were prosecutorial masterpieces coordinated across 6 jurisdictions, 73 counts of wire fraud under 18 U.S.C. 1343, 38 counts of money laundering under 18 U.S.C. 1956, 24 counts of securities fraud, and 16 counts of international conspiracy under RICO statutes. Marcus was facing 42 to 47 years under U.S. federal sentencing guidelines, with additional sentences pending in Singapore, Australia, Switzerland, and the Cayman Islands. The cryptocurrency seizures were comprehensive. Coordinated teams recovered 3,247 Bitcoin, 67,000 Ethereum, and over $18.3 million in stablecoins from wallets Marcus thought were protected by jurisdictional complexity and regulatory arbitrage. The media coverage was explosive and international. Marcus's mugshot appeared simultaneously on financial news outlets across 6 continents, his polished cryptocurrency entrepreneur image completely destroyed. Singapore exchange operator arrested in $47.2 million international fraud scheme, screamed headlines across Reuters, Bloomberg, CoinDesk, and regulatory publications worldwide. His regulatory credentials were immediately revoked across all claimed jurisdictions, and Tether Vault Pro's remaining infrastructure was placed under international receivership to facilitate victim restitution. The primary trial in U.S. federal court lasted 18 days, though the outcome felt inevitable from opening statements. I testified for 12 hours across 5 days, walking federal jurors through my international regulatory analysis with methodical precision, while prosecutors displayed global money flows on courtroom screens. The prosecution used my FinCEN coordination as their case foundation, showing how each theft had been executed through fabricated regulatory compliance, concealed through sophisticated international money laundering, and coordinated while customers received completely fraudulent exchange reports. During cross-examination, his attorney tried painting me as a biased victim seeking revenge rather than objective regulatory testimony. "Mr. Hayes," he said with false concern, "isn't it true you lost substantial cryptocurrency holdings and coordinated this international prosecution out of personal animosity?" I looked him directly in the eye, then addressed the jury with calm precision. "My analysis is based on 18 months of international regulatory coordination and 16 years of FinCEN compliance enforcement, not personal feelings. The evidence shows Mr. Chen committed systematic wire fraud, international money laundering, and securities violations while operating a completely fraudulent cryptocurrency exchange across multiple jurisdictions." I concluded with calculated emphasis. Cryptocurrency transactions create permanent records across international banking networks. Mr. Chen's entire criminal enterprise is documented through correspondent banking relationships, regulatory filings, and blockchain analysis that cannot be altered, disputed, or explained away by regulatory complexity. The jury deliberated less than 4 hours, returning guilty verdicts on all 73 counts. When the foreman read guilty for the first time, Marcus's shoulders sagged like a deflating balloon losing pressure. By the 60th guilty verdict, he was staring at his hands while his international legal team whispered desperate consolations about appeals across multiple jurisdictions. The U.S. sentencing hearing 6 months later was my moment of complete vindication.
Judge Patricia Williams listened to victim impact statements from 47 people whose cryptocurrency investments Marcus had destroyed across 18 countries. When my turn came, I looked directly at Marcus and spoke words I'd rehearsed. Your Honor, the defendant weaponized regulatory complexity and international arbitrage to commit unprecedented cryptocurrency fraud. He didn't just steal money, he destroyed retirement security, educational funding, and financial independence across 6 continents while hiding behind fabricated compliance credentials and jurisdictional complexity. This represents calculated predatory behavior targeting the most sophisticated cryptocurrency investors seeking legitimate regulatory protection. Marcus wouldn't meet my eyes, staring at the defense table while his shoulders shook. Judge Williams sentenced him to 46 years in federal prison with no parole possibility before serving 85%, full restitution of $47.2 million plus international penalties, lifetime ban from cryptocurrency operations and financial services, forfeiture of all assets purchased with stolen proceeds across all jurisdictions. When federal marshals led Marcus away in shackles, he finally looked at me one last time. The fear and complete defeat in his eyes was everything I'd hoped to see during those sleepless nights coordinating international regulatory action. 4 years later, my family had recovered financially through coordinated international restitution and seized asset distributions. Emily graduated from Stanford pre-med with honors, saying she wants to investigate financial crimes that cross international boundaries. Marcus Chen is serving consecutive sentences across 3 countries where exchange fraud carries no jurisdictional protection. If someone promises institutional-grade cryptocurrency custody, remember, regulatory networks span every jurisdiction, and international compliance officers never forget.